you and I, Randy, and everybody listening, that we're supposed to be growing. We're supposed to constantly be growing. That's why it's important to be around, groups of people who are smarter than you and they've already grown further than you, because they're going to encourage and pull you upwards versus, if there's 5 crabs in a bucket, if there's 1 crab in a bucket, the crab can climb right out of the bucket, no problem. But if you're in a bucket, if you're living your life in a bucket of 5 other crabs and you're trying to climb out of the bucket, they don't want you to climb out of the bucket. And you watch this in real life. I've seen it. The crabs reach up and they yank their buddy down. And so you don't want to be around people yanking you down. You want to be around people that are pulling you up.
Are you looking for true personal freedom? The freedom to design a life you truly desire? Then you're absolutely in the right place. True personal freedom comes from when you take 100% responsibility and control of your money and your mind. Here, you're going to learn ideas, tips, and wisdom that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are now to your dream life in the future. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the RichMind Podcast. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the RichMind Podcast. And today, coming back with another awesome episode with a collaboration I'm doing with Chad Kneller. He is awesome. We were just talking before we hit record here. He is fantastic in the side of personal development and all the ideas and the wisdom that's been shared by all of the greats out there. He's great at taking those pieces of nuggets of wisdom and then putting a spin on them that it always brings a smile to my face. He always just has a way he's like a wordsmith. He's got a way of putting words together in phrases and then all the good things out there that, I don't know, it just really resonates with me. And so hopefully it's resonating with you as well, the listener. So coming back with another episode with Chad, and I'm excited to see and hear. We kind of discussed a few of the things we're going to talk about today, but I'm just going to sit here and learn right along with you, the listeners. So Chad, welcome back to the show. And what are we going to talk about today?
Well, hey, Randy, thanks for having me again. Always love these conversations. And I was just thinking about this morning some different ideas and things we could talk about. And I was just thinking about how important it is for us to have a growth mindset for anybody, no matter what you want to do in life. If you are focused on consistently and constantly growing, how you end up so much better off than yourself if you're not thinking about consistently and ongoing growing. Someone said one time, if you just change 1/3 of 1% every day, right? And that's just a little tiny thing, right? Then you're 100% better after 1 year, and then you're 500% better in 5 years. So every 5 years, if you actually do this, you should be able to look back and go, wow, I don't even recognize who I was 5 years ago. And with growth, it's funny because it's kind of interesting to me, because typically if you look at like the pattern of a child, child born at like 8 pounds, 20 some inches long, and it's going to be automatic. There's automatic growth. So you're going to go from that size to about, 6 foot or whatever you end up at, at 5'8" if you're me, right? 5'7". So you're going to end up wherever you end up at like age 17, 18. And then you look at the school system. So we're physically growing. And then you look at the school system, and a lot of kids, after high school, about 18, they stop mentally growing, right? And then maybe you go off to college. But even after college, how many people actually go, okay, I'm going to keep growing? Because one thing I learned years ago, and I thought this was so good, is that, as we get older, sometimes wisdom comes with age, but sometimes age comes all by itself.
I love that. So repeat that one more time, because just so that way, make sure everybody caught that, because that's a great saying that, if you really think about it, how true that really is. So please, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. And so first you have to value wisdom. I mean, I do, and I know you do, and I hope everybody does, but you want more wisdom. It doesn't just, you don't get it by osmosis. It doesn't just come to you. So sometimes wisdom comes with age, and sometimes age comes all by itself, meaning you can be 70 years old and have a 30-year-old that is far more wise than a 70-year-old, because the 30-year-old decided to be intentional about growing and learning and changing. And so that's really, I'm excited about talk about this topic, because when I grasped this, I was like, oh my gosh, I can always be better than I was yesterday, and I can always be better than I am today. And I get to decide that, which is exciting to me.
So that decision is always the key. It's having that we've talked about in previous episodes, right? The wake up moments that we both have had. You had yours when you were overseas with your son being in a hospital. That was a huge wake up moment for you. I've had my wake up moment with the W-2 job that I had when they came in and basically fired me. Anyways, woke me up to realizing that I was not in control of my life. That was my huge wake up moment, which led me then to go down this path of self-education, right? We refer back to Jim Rohn a lot with the self-education will lead to a fortune versus formal education will make you a living. And just that idea and that thought process, right? That's kind of what I'm hearing with you when you talk about that term growth. Is that basically what I'm hearing from you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just such a little tweak, like you think about health, we all grew up hearing an apple a day keeps the doctor away, meaning, do something every day that's healthy for you intentionally, right? So in that case, it'd be eating an apple a day. Well, when I was younger, someone told me, read 10 pages of a good book every day, or listen to 10 minutes of an audio, because over time, 10 pages isn't going to change your life, or 10 minutes of listening to an audio. But if you do it every single day, day in, day out, which only takes 10 minutes, right? I mean, you could set a book on the back of your toilet, and every time you sit down, just get in the habit of, hey, I'm going to read 10 pages right now. I mean, some of you might read 20, 30 pages, but it's just the point of doing something every day that's growth. And then, and I heard it said, I think John Maxwell said, he said, trade in goal-oriented for growth-oriented, and stop asking how long will it take and start asking how far can I go? Because when we ask, how far can I go? There's no finish line. See, a lot of people are goal oriented. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this, but then what? I mean, what is retirement? It drives me crazy. People are like, oh, I got 7 more years, I'm going to retire. What does that actually mean? That means you're going to wait to die. I mean, most people, it means they're going to stop doing everything. They're going to lay on the couch. They're going to watch Netflix for the next 20 years. And they're basically going to be waiting around to die, which it's depressing. I mean, there's so many people that when they retire, they don't live much longer, because they don't have a purpose anymore. So when we stop asking, how long will it take? How long will it take for me to retire? And then we start asking, how far can I go in life? How much more can I learn? How much more can I change? How many more lives can I impact? How many more people can I add value to? That's something you can be 85 years old and wake up excited about tomorrow, believing tomorrow could actually be some of the best time you've ever had in your entire life, because you're constantly changing and growing.
So is that falling in love with the process in your mind? Like falling in love with the idea of, like you said, the 10 pages a day. It can be something that simple, or a walk around the block. I know we take walks. I know you take a walk every morning. I've been trying to take a walk every morning as well. And you just fall in love with the process of getting out there, collecting your thoughts, getting some ideas out. I mean, is that also part of it? Is just falling in love with the process?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm of the mindset where there is really no maintaining. There's really no maintaining health. There's really no maintaining wisdom. So I'm either learning and growing forward, or I'm automatically going backwards. And this is my mindset, right? Or with health, I'm getting healthier or I'm dying, like one or the other. And, we said before that all things worthwhile are uphill. So if you have that mindset and you're like, okay, what hill am I climbing? Where am I heading? What am I changing? Not to say don't enjoy your life, because I love the idea of being thankful for what I have while I pursue all that I want. Being thankful for all that I know while I'm learning more, right? But there should always be this healthy stretching that we're all doing to move forward, because I just think that's how every human was created. I mean, I'm totally sold on that, because when I'm in the process of growth and I'm in the process of changing, I am excited about the future, right? When you're not, you're looking at what? You're looking at the past. You're going, oh, I'm gonna hit one hit wonder. My best days are behind me. Best part of my life is over. It's like some people go through midlife crisis or whatever, right? You hit 40 years old or 50 years old, and it's just like, oh man, I wasted all my good years. And the other mindset says, man, my best years are ahead of me, or I'm halfway, or my old man strength just kicked in, right? I mean, it's a philosophy, and it's a mindset of the best is yet to come always. And as long as you have hope for the future, you have everything, because like I shared earlier, you can be a whole different person. I mean, over the next 5 years, somebody on here listening could lose hundreds of pounds. Somebody could add millions of dollars. Someone who's never made $1 million yet in their life could have millions of extra dollars 5 years from now in their bank account. Somebody who's not athletic at all could go run a marathon between now and the next 5 years. Like, it's the only limitations we have are our self, unless you're like, I'll never dunk a basketball because I can't jump more about that high.
We'll bring the rim down for you, Chad. we'll bring the rim, and then you will, right?
Right. But the point is that most of the time we have this lid we put on ourselves. Like I heard someone the other day, they said, "Oh, I'm just not a salesperson." I'm like, really? I'm like, have you never convinced anybody? Have you never shared something with someone and they got excited about it? I'm like, of course you're a salesperson. You just don't like the word sales. But if I say you're a great share person, does that feel better? Because it's the same thing. I mean, all sales is you're talking to someone about something and then they go do it based off your recommendation, right? And sharing is the same thing. It's like if gas is 99 cents down around the corner and you start telling everybody gas is 99 cents around the corner, and everybody goes, like, you were just a good salesperson. You sold them on going to that gas station, right? Because of the benefits that they would get. And you're just excited about it. So, people, when they say I'm not this, or I can't, I hate the word can't. The proper word in most cases is to say I won't, instead of saying, oh, I can't get up that early, right? Really? Oh, because you're not a morning person, you can't set an alarm. I won't. Let's tell the truth, right? Let's tell the truth. So, everybody listening here, just try that sometime. And if you hear the word can't come out of your mouth next time, just change the word to won't and see if that feels more honest. Because in most cases it is.
Yeah. So I love that. So a couple of things are firing off in my mind. Let's see if I can collect them and get it back to you. So that way you can continue on, because this has been fantastic, right? So the idea, or lately in the last week or so, beliefs have been something that's been top of mind. We've been having discussions around my family. And I think that a lot of times, if folks can't, like you said, hope, right? If people can't believe in the process or believe that they can actually get to that particular outcome, they don't even get themselves started, right? Which comes into the words. You mentioned that I love that, because I'm very conscious of the words that I choose out of my mouth. And I'm that way with the people that are around me as well. I'll call somebody out if they're saying can't or shouldn't or whatever it is, depending on the situation, right? And to make sure that they're understanding that those limiting words or those limiting beliefs are keeping them from this growth that's going to get them to this outcome that they desire anyways, that if they would just tweak a few things, how much their life would be completely different. And the last thing I want to tie on to is that you're talking about reaching your potential. And I look at nature, right? So I'm thinking of a tree, and a tree will grow to its tallest point, and it's trying to get to the sun, right? It's trying to, you're in a forest, right? You think of a forest, you're just in a dense forest. Every tree has one goal, and it's to reach the sun, right? Trying to get to the tallest point. And they will grow as high and as possibly until nature doesn't want them or doesn't need that source of supply anymore. And then it withers away and it dies. But they're continuously growing. That growth is nonstop from the day they're planted until the day that they decide that they're not going to be in existence anymore. So those are the few things that are kind of firing off in my mind. And I love that so far with the growth.
I love the idea of trees too, because, like, remember my son, when he was really, really young, he was weak, right? Like, he was sickly and he had all kinds of issues, and we're trying to figure out, like, iron deficient and anemic and all this stuff. And I remember we took him to a church one time, and the pastor there was just praying over me. He said, I believe Elijah is going to be strong as an oak. And so if you know about oak trees are solid. Like, oak trees are the ones that are standing if the tornado comes through or whatever, and then everything else is destroyed. Like, the oak tree is still standing there, right? And now he's trying to be a ninja warrior and all that kind of stuff. But what's cool about trees too is you see, like, the top. I remember I was in a cave, or like a mine. It was like I think it's one of the biggest lead mines in the world in Missouri. And we're in there, and there's roots coming out of the ceiling, and they're like, yeah, we'll show you the tree. And we're like so far deep, right? And there was roots coming through this, like, iron solid rock, like the roots, because a tree doesn't ever stop growing, like you said, and it'll dig and it'll push and push and push to reach its full potential. So, I mean, there's a lot we could learn from trees and just be more like a tree, which I never heard it said that way before, but we should all be more like a tree, right? Not emotionally, you don't have to be like a tree, but grow.
Well, it's the idea of growth, right? The idea of growth, and you're reaching your full potential based on your beliefs, right? You mentioned that story about your son, and that pastor poured over a belief into you, which then carried over into your belief into your son, which is now, like you said, now he's out there being a ninja warrior, which a few years ago would never even have been a possibility, at least I would assume in your own mind.
And what's funny is that belief was transferred to us, and I've always told him, you're going to grow up, be strong as an oak. So what's that doing for him? Right? That expectation is invitation. And so he's like, dad says I'm gonna be strong as an oak. So he's getting strong, and he just constantly getting stronger. Like he is growing so fast, and in his body and strength. And I mean, the things that kid can do, he can do things already at 13 I could never do. Like he can hang from one arm for like 45 seconds. I'm like, I can't hang from one arm for 5 seconds. It's pretty amazing. But I wanted to get in here to some practical things. So hopefully by now everybody realizes, okay, I haven't been growing. I need to grow. Maybe I'm on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I feel like great with my growth plan. I'm like a 2. So four observations on growth. So first of all, growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow will get better. The calendar only guarantees that you're going to get old, right? So the days are going to go by. Time is going to slip away. What's that song? Time keeps on slipping. So the time's going to go. It's going to keep on slipping away. And then our question is, are you the same you were a week ago, or have you changed? Have you grown? Have you learned? Have you stretched? Because it's the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better, and you have the power in your hands. So there's few things we can control, Randy, right? But us personally growing is definitely one thing we can absolutely control, because and today with phones, I mean, you can YouTube, you can look up Ed Milet, that someone can go back and watch former episodes. You're on like what episode, like 60, 70. I mean, you've interviewed a lot of great people. So someone can, there's an unlimited amount of resource for someone to grow. You don't have to spend money, to buy a book or anything like that. If you have no money at all, you can get online and you can learn from people and hear this kind of thing. It's going to stretch your own belief, and it's going to stretch you, and it's going to change you and help you to grow. So that's the first thing, is that it's the only guarantee. So if it's a guarantee tomorrow will be better, why would someone not do it? And if I'm asking anyone that, and I think I know, because they don't know any better. The average person just doesn't think about it. They're like, well, no one in my circle's growing, so it's just not what people do. You get done. I'm done with the phase of life of learning. On to the next thing, earning, going from learning to earning. And that's just the mindset that a lot of people have. And you and I both know, Randy, when you start learning, you get hungry, right? And you're like, oh, what else? Someone said, what you don't know can't hurt you. Well, I know what I don't know has kept me broke in the past. It's kept me sick in the past. I just learned the other day, I was a heat casualty in the military. And I learned and I just thought I was one of those guys that doesn't sweat, because I was never sweating. Well, I started taking Celtic salt, and I just do a couple sprinkles of that like 3 times a day. And now when I'm outside, I sweat great, and I don't get overheated anymore. But see, I didn't know. I just thought, I just don't sweat. They said never let them see you sweat, right? So I'm like, they're clogging my pores up. No, I didn't do that. But I was just like, I just didn't sweat. And it caused me I was a heat casualty at Ranger School in the military because of that. And so just learning this stuff, and my wife, she's like, well, honey, that's not normal. You should sweat. And so she did some research and found out. But it's the little things like that we kind of make our minds up on, but you got to just be open to learn and grow. And then you become so much better for it. And we're able to offer more than too, right, Randy? Because when you and I learn more and it's good for us, guess what? It's going to be good for everyone. Good for our kids, good for our friends, good for people on podcasts.
That's where it becomes so much fun to collaborate and to have discussions with folks that are also actively learning. One thing I wanted to throw in there when I first discovered this idea of growth, because I was in that same mindset of just earning, right? Grinding and earning. And then I got the bug of growth, and it's never stopped ever since I got that. But one thing that was shared with me back in the day that I totally took to heart, and I just want to share that, and I think I probably said this in the past, but the idea of turning your car into a mobile classroom, and turning your drive time, your mind-numbing traffic, which is what I had. I had an hour commute each way back and forth to work every day. And I turned that into my classroom time. And I think it was Brian Tracy that said that if you did that over, I forget exactly the time frame, but you would earn basically the equivalent knowledge and information of an MBA in a relatively short period of time, depending on the topics that you chose. I took that, I believed him at that point, and I did that, which then allowed me then to continue to grow, learn different things. Yeah. So it's growth, folks. That's the secret. It's the growth piece is what's going to allow you to experience a different reality than you may be currently experiencing that you're not happy with. There is hope. and there are people that are pulling for you. And Chad and I are definitely part of that group, which is why we're super excited that you're here joining us today. So is there anything else you want to wrap this kind of idea with growth, Chad? Because I think that we've come together with a lot of great information that people could just even replay this one several times. Yeah, just nuggets of wisdom.
Just a couple more things, thoughts, observations of growth. The next one would be growth means change. And what I want to empower everyone today is we're not victims. We're not like waiting around to see if our life gets better, right? I mean, that's one way to do it, but I won't recommend that. I mean, or maybe you're waiting around for a relative to die and leave you millions, or, which may or may not never happen. So this idea of change, and I heard Jim Rohn first say it, and he said that if I would change, then everything would change for me. And I was like, oh, wow. So here's the truth. The truth is all the things, the decisions you and I have made, Randy, all the things we've learned, they've all accumulated to this point. And we can look at our lives and we can look at the numbers. We can look at the fruit of everything we've done, everything we've learned. And we are right where we are because of the choices that we've made over time to get here. Now, good, bad, whatever, doesn't matter. But what matters is the next choices, the future. And if you and I'll change, everything can change for us. We were designed, like I said before, we're designed to be better and grow anyway. So if we don't grow, then we start feeling it, and it's the alarm system starts going off. The alarm system is called stress. It's called depression. It's called unfulfilled. Right. And so that's just another thing nudging you and I, Randy, and everybody listening, that we're supposed to be growing. We're supposed to constantly be growing. That's why it's important to be around groups of people who are smarter than you and they've already grown further than you, because they're going to encourage and pull you upwards versus, if there's 5 crabs in a bucket, if there's 1 crab in a bucket, the crab can climb right out of the bucket, no problem. But if you're in a bucket, if you're living your life in a bucket of 5 other crabs and you're trying to climb out of the bucket, they don't want you to climb out of the bucket. And you watch this in real life. I've seen it. The crabs reach up and they yank their buddy down. And so you don't want to be around people yanking you down. You want to be around people that are pulling you up. So that's another important part to notice, because are the people you're hanging out with, are they growth oriented, or are they settled? Are they settlers? Are they growing, right? And then the last thing is failure is your friend. And if you want to grow, you have to understand that failure is your friend. I would highly recommend doubling your rate of failure. Failure is the fertilizer of success. The only way to successful is via the struggle bus. So if you're not going through a stretching and you're not going through a struggling, you're not on the right road. And so embrace that. Get used to. I'm reading a book right now called Embrace the Suck. It's a former Navy SEAL. And he's like, if he goes a day where something doesn't suck, then he feels like he's not growing. He's not stretching. It might be a little extreme for some people, but if it's been a long time since you've done something for the first time, then it's about time. So I would say today, find something you haven't done and just do it. Because what that's going to do is that's going to get you used to stretching and expanding your comfort zone, which is our little 3-foot box, our right limits, our left limits, our self-imposed limitations that we put in place to protect ourselves from failure, from rejection or whatever, and just start pushing those boundaries out. And the only way you're going to do that is doing something you haven't done and doing it. And so if you haven't ever set a book on the back of your toilet, to let today be the day. Set it right there. Bam. And then every time you sit there, 10 pages, maybe 5. If you don't want to, if you're in a hurry, 5 pages, right? But let's go for 10.
Let's go for 10. Folks, this is why I'm bringing Chad with you, or to you here on these episodes. I just enjoy these conversations so much. He brings some laughter, some clarity to some serious topics that really, if you catch the pass that he's throwing and what we're trying to do and accomplish here in these episodes, I'm telling you, your life a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now will be a complete change. And it'll be what you choose it to be. Chad talked about how your choices up to this point, that's the results that you have today. The beauty of it is that you can change your choices starting right now. And that's where the idea of taking the book and putting it on the toilet, that's a choice. But that choice can lead into so many other choices that could totally impact your life, that's why it's so super exciting. And it's worked for me, and I know it's worked for Chad. And that's the reason why we're here trying to talk to you about it today, which is super fun. So Chad, this has been a ton of fun. This has been, as always, I start laughing. I try to control my laughter because I don't want that to be the audio. The entire audio is me just sitting here laughing, but it's so much fun. But folks, if you're looking for a group of people that are looking to grow, Chad and I are affiliated with a company that is actively looking for people that are looking to grow in their own personal life, in their financial life, friends, family, looking for people that are hungry, that are wanting to be a better human being. If that resonates with anything that we've been speaking about here on this episode and even the previous episodes, hit either one of us up on the socials. We'll have links in the show notes as well. And let's just have a conversation and see if we might be able to help you bridge that gap from where you currently are to this dream vision that you have for yourself. And it comes with growth. You've got to stretch yourself a little bit, which means let's get on the phone and have a conversation. Might push you a little bit, but at the same time, you never know. It could be the exact thing that you've been looking for that's going to take you to the next level. So Chad, man, this has been a fun episode. I look forward to coming back again next time. Yeah, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this one, I wasn't sure where we were going to go. And it's what makes it fun for me is that we just kind of weave and bob. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I appreciate you being on, man.
Man, always love it. Appreciate you. Thanks so much. And looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, we'll look forward to doing it again, folks. So go out there, have a fantastic day. And until the next episode, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye now. Thank you for joining me on the RichMind Podcast. I hope you found a ton of value in this episode. If so, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review. And you can also share it with your family and friends. And as my mentor Jim Rohn shared with me, in order to have more, you must first become more. And in order to become more, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So go out there today and work harder on yourself to become more and build the life of your dreams. Until next time, my friends.